and welcome to the Fit Fuzz podcast, episode 55. Kyle, what is happening? How are you?
Good, mate. Just waiting for this week Can of Monster to digest, but otherwise, all right. How are you?
Brilliant. I'm alright. I've got a wee Greg's coffee. Lovely
Nice.
jubbly.
What's Greg's coffee like? I've never actually had one.
Actually, alright. I actually prefer Greg's and McDonald's coffee to like Starbucks and cost a fortune.
I've never heard anybody who's not said McDonald's coffee's banging. Like, everybody says it's banging.
It's great, man. And for the price as well, like you can't complain. See if you're paying a quid or a quid 50 for a coffee, you expect it to be shit. So when it's shit, you're no disappointed.
True.
Do you know what I
Ge-
mean? But it's actually really good. Whereas when you go to Starbucks and you pay a fiver for a coffee and they've burnt the fucking coffee beans and you get to the bottom of the cup and it's that that bitter way that you feel it in your eyes.
Yeah. Jen and I we had to get out the house on Friday. It was just one of those ones we'd been in the house all week. First week back, I was working, Jen was looking after Finn, and it was a case where it's not really a lot to go or places to do, and we were just like, you know what, we'll just go to the shopping centre and we'll just go a stroll a bit to get us out of the house. It was about 5 o'clock in the evening Friday. Jen was like, I'm going to get a coffee. I was like, oh, fuck that, carry on, that's too late in the day for me. But she
Five
went,
o'clock on a Friday.
yeah, nah, not for me. But anyway, she went and got a coffee, and it was $7.50 for the coffee. And I was like, get a receipt for that, because she didn't know what I meant at first. And so I was like, just get a receipt. I was like, I'm not claiming it as a business expense, and I was just actually wanting to see how it was $7.50. I thought they maybe double charged her. $7.50 for a matcha latte.
That's wild.
Yeah,
£7.50. Oh,
yeah.
euros. Sorry.
Euros, €7 50, but I mean that's still probably about $6.25. Like it's expensive enough. Like,
Fucking hell. Aye. Nah. Stick to your Greg's, stick to your McDonald's. Does the
okay.
job. Well, uh I got a large coffee and I got a wee roll, I got a cheeky wee roll, and it was like 380 or something like that, which is alright.
Mate, it's more than alright. That's like you're getting fucking good amount of calories in there for that. Like that's stopping you going catabolic. Um,
462 calories.
Decent. You can tell the man's back logging. Speaking of which, give us the wee updates, mate. What's happening?
It's been alright. So, I've been feeling good, although my cravings have been really, really intense over the last week. And I did succumb to them one night and I got a Domino's. However, I am still moving and my weight is still trending down, so we are looking good. Um, I did average a wee bit more than 2,200 over the course of the week, but that's okay. We can live with that as long as my weight is trending down. I do need to tighten it up a wee bit. The struggle that I've had, and this isn't making excuses, is just about a batch cooked on Monday, and that was only for 4 days. But by the time I get to Thursday, Friday, I'm fucking shattered for work, and I just don't want to cook. So that's when my cravings start to intensify. And as you know, mate, I do succumb to them more often than I'd like to admit.
So it doesn't sound like it's whilst it is a specifically Gary problem, it sounds like a problem that a large majority of people are going to face. How
100%, yep.
how are you going to address that going forward?
Um, for a start, I'm not going to beat myself up about it, and I'm not going to try and burn off the calories that I've overeaten by, because that is just a one-way ticket to an even worse relationship with myself and an even worse relationship with food. So I am going to pick myself up, dust myself off, realize where and why the cravings started and happened, and then for next week be prepared ahead of time. So rather than batch cooking for 4 dinners, I'm actually going to cook two separate meals, and I'll have eight. So
Hmm?
I'll have 8 meals there, and it means that I'm not going to be left short, and then I don't end up going to Domino's. It also doesn't help. I'm calling Rachel. It also doesn't help that she's getting quite big. The belly's big, right?
I'm taking this
And
as the baby rather than just a frequency of takeaways.
well, it could be a bit of both here.
It's the twins.
She's she's just like, I just want McDonald's. I just want cheesy pasta. Do you know what I mean? Just utter shite. But it satisfies her. It makes her feel good in the moment. I did make big batch. The batch that I made on Monday was pasta bolognese. At the time, nah, I don't want it. I was like, well, stick. I'm not going to be standing here making another dinner over the next few days.
Yeah, mate.
So I put that to contend with as well. And when if you know what it's like, well, people that are listening will know what it's like. See, when you get that McDonald's smell, it's like chemically enhanced particles in the air, and it just immediately you're just like fuck.
I don't know if I've touched on this before with you, but I read this or listened to this once. McDonald's is designed that you can eat it without chewing. Like if you put it in your mouth, it's designed to essentially dissolve in your mouth, so it like hits all your chemical receptors. Like that. See people who are addicted to fast food and stuff. A lot of it, whilst yes, you can argue there's a choice element in there, but a lot of it is like you're literally getting every single sense in your body going, well, this is fucking great crack. Like this is what we want. So yeah, mate, the smells, the taste, everything associated with it, yeah, top notch.
Oh, it just hits you straight away, and you're like, oh shit, here we go again.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you were trying to rack on calories really, really quickly, McDonald's is a great shout because you literally don't need to do chewing. I've said that to people. I'm like, if you're on the bulk and they're literally looking to fill out, like, I still would, 80% of your nutrition should be coming from good quality sources. But I'm like, when you're on 5,000 calories, there's only a certain amount of good quality, whatever you can do. You're going to have to make up. I'm like, McDonald's is a fucking great shout. Get yourself in there. Don't even need to chew.
Plus, yeah, you don't need to chew, and you'll be hungry again in half an hour.
Yeah, it's. I was going to say it does do that to you, doesn't it? Like, I done that once where I was starting. This is years ago. I'm talking maybe fucking 10 years ago. I was starting my new coach, and I'd done that usual going to get the last takeaway before I go. The standard on a Sunday get the last takeaway. Yeah. So me and Jen were there, and it was like we drove to our McDonald's, and I got about fucking 3 things off the menu. I went, this will do me. Made the mistake of doing it at 3 o'clock in the day, mate. I must have probably had about 3,000 calories at 3 o'clock in the day. I was hungry by about 5 again. I'm like, I'm doing the last takeaway again. I'm doing it again tonight.
Oh, it's disgusting, isn't it? It's mental how much you can put away when you just kind of go for things like McDonald's and stuff like that. I much prefer KFC, if I'm being honest. I would rather go to KFC.
Controversial, mate. Controversial indeed. I prefer Burger King's burgers.
Oh, absolutely. Agreed.
McDonald's chips are slightly better, but I would say, mate, there is something about the KFC bucket, mate. It's, yeah, game-changing, that KFC bucket. And Zinger.
I mean, sorry, on you go.
No, I was just going to say Zinger was decent as well, but on you go.
Zinger's fantastic. KFC have actually changed their chips as well. They now use like a homemade seasoning. Banging. Absolutely tremendous. Give me them over McDonald's chips any day.
I don't know what happened to me when I turned fucking 28 because I'd never ate veg in my life until I was 28 and I didn't really even like chips. The two things came at once, where on one hand I was getting, you like veg now, but I was also like, fuck, you actually have an inclination towards eating chips. Like I would genuinely get meals before and I'd just leave the chips. I had no inclination eating them. It's not, just didn't like them. And now I'm like, well, fuck, I've ate all them chips. And I'm now a fucking chips connoisseur. I don't know where it came from. I don't know how veg and chips were linked, but I'm fucking eating both of them now.
Brilliant. Rachel got a McDonald's last night. She's like that to me. She got a Big Mac meal. Gary, do you want my chips? And I says no. 2 minutes later, they were gone. I was like, so you did want them? Why were you offering them to me if you wanted them?
Disaster.
What's been happening in your week?
Sister's over at the moment, so she's helping us do a wee bit in the house because, again, renovating the house is just a lifelong job. So it's one of those ones that we just need somebody to keep an eye on Finn because he's now properly crawling, pulling himself up on things. And I think, as my sister said the other night, it's like you can't turn around without him trying to actively kill himself right now. So yeah, you genuinely need somebody to supervise him. So I'm, to be honest, I'm still working. I've done a wee bit of stuff in the house. Jen's doing a good bit in the house. Laura's looking after Finn. So that's about the excitement. I snapped my ankle again. I've probably left that detail out. I snapped my ankle again on Tuesday. So a couple of years, the only major injury I've had is I've torn my ligaments in my ankle. I got like whatever you call it, a grade 3 tear or whatever. Like the fucking they went 2 years ago. And then I was playing on Tuesday night. I went to go and block a shot, and then when I blocked the shot, it kind of overextended my ankle, but I landed on it awkwardly at an angle with my full weight on it, and I felt the pop straight away. And I was like, that's gone again. The adrenaline as it does though, like it always feels okay to start off with. It just feels a bit weird. Literally drove myself home the moment I tried to step out the car. I went, oh no, that's gone.
Oh,
Thankfully, it's one of those ones that actually. Have you ever done your ligaments in your ankle before or anything like that?
never.
No.
No, no.
It's one of those ones that actually feel horrendous for the first couple of days. You actually feel like, oh fuck, I'm never going to be able to walk again, like properly. But actually, you know what? It heals really quickly. Like I'm already kind of able to walk in straight lines again. I'm like, I can put weight on it. It's fine. Like it's just more annoyance than anything else. I'm like, I'm not playing fives again for a few weeks.
Doing your ligaments on a Wednesday and then playing football on a Saturday. It's not for everybody.
Not for everybody, indeed. Moving on swiftly, mate. How has your week been?
Busy, busy, busy. 12x launched brand new app on Monday. So this has been the kind of onboarding week. And thank God we had an onboarding week because I don't know if you've ever kind of released like your own app or whatever, or if you've just always kind of used third party, but holy fuck, the stress that comes with it. So many teething issues, things not working the way they should. But that's the very reason we had an onboarding week. Because if we were just to launch and go straight into the program, oh, oh, I can't even begin to imagine the stress. But it officially launches this Monday. Everybody is onboarded. We're ready to go, man. I'm dying to just get my head down and just get back into the swing of actually coaching people instead of trying to fix an app.
Yeah, it's got to say you are always going to get those teething issues. Hopefully, that the cost is worth what you get from it at the end. That the reward is worth the cost. But
100%.
never fun to start off with, mate. Yeah,
but it's all worth it in the end. It's all worth it in the end.
You just keep telling yourself that. If you say that to yourself 7 times before you go to bed in a Hail Mary, you'll be fine.
Oh, by the way, as well, for anybody listening, if you're still sticking with your fitness goals, if you're still training, then you're doing fucking incredible. Most people have dropped off by now. Most people have already fucked up with their New Year's resolutions by now. If you are sticking with it, then that's it.
I think statistically, it's the 17th of January, which is today. 90% of people have fucked their January resolution. Now, bear in mind, most people don't start to the 6th of January in the first place, so you've got an 11-day swing there. But yeah, no, well done on that. We've put together some questions that we thought might be quite insightful that people have asked. So I'll just start firing. So I've got the wee list here in front of us. So I'll start firing them through. Is fake protein in shakes bad for you?
Fake protein?
Well, that was the way it was worded. So is fake protein in shakes bad for you? I'm assuming the person is meaning like
powder.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's also not fake. It is very real. If you're getting whey protein, that comes straight from the cow. It is just separated in the process of cheese making.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not bad for you at all. However, what I would say is if you can get your protein through Whole Foods and use the protein powder to supplement, say if you're just not hitting your protein target for the day, supplement it with a wee bit of powder. That is absolutely fine, but don't get every single bit of your protein in through some sort of shakes. Although I said there is nothing bad, there's nothing bad with it, there's nothing wrong with it. Try and get your protein through Whole Foods.
Yeah, I'd just add to that the fact that we're saying Whole Foods is just because they have some micronutrients that you're not going to get for a protein shake. So if you looked at, say this all the time, if you get a chicken breast and you get a protein shake, there's probably a similar amount of calories in it. Let's say there's 25 grams of protein and say there's 150 to 200 calories in it. And then same with a protein shake. Your body doesn't really know the difference in terms of a macronutrient point of view. It literally just digests 25 grams of proteins and 200 calories. But where it does have that slight difference is like the absorption rates, your digestion through the fact that there are other things in there, macronutrients, amino acids, etc. So yeah, plus also, like realistically, you probably do want to pair a protein source with some sort of veg or carbohydrate a lot of the time as well. So yeah, I think we've cleared that one up. how many carbs do I need to stop eating to lose weight?
You could eat as many carbs as you want as long as you stay in a calorie deficit. So it doesn't come down to how many carbs you're eating, it comes down to how many calories you're eating. Same goes for protein, same goes for fat as well. A lot of people panic that if they eat too much fat, the macronutrient fat, that they're going to gain fat. It all comes down to energy balance at the end of the day. If you're eating more than your body uses, than your body burns off, you're going to gain fat. But this has to happen over an extended period of time. If you're eating less than your body needs to maintain its weight, then you're going to lose body fat. So, what I would suggest on that is track your calories for a week. Don't change your eating habits, right? Track your calories for a week. Get an average of how many calories you're bringing in. So add up all the 7 days of calories that you've tracked, then divide that by seven, and that's going to give you an average for how many calories you're bringing in on a daily basis. Take 500 off of that, 3 to 500 off of that, stick with that for a week, and you should start to see a bit of a difference. If not, take another 1 to 200 off it. Keep going down until you start seeing a bit of a drop in your weight. How would you
But
tackle that
Gary,
one?
my mates, sisters, cousins, dogs, auntie lost tons of weight by cutting out carbohydrates. How did that happen?
Because cutting out a whole macronutrient means you're going to be eating less calories overall.
I was going to say, yeah, they've not seen fucking pasta in about 10 years. That's it.
Literally, that's all that's happening. That's why all these diets work. That's why keto works. That's why low carb works. That's why carnivore works because you're essentially cutting out a macronutrient that is forcing you into eating less.
Yep.
Eating less, energy balance, eating less calories than your body requires to maintain its weight. You're going to lose body fat. It doesn't matter. Um, Realistically, it doesn't matter your protein, carbs, and fats ratio. Realistically, it doesn't because it all comes down to those calories in, calories out. However, that doesn't then mean that you want to be cutting out a whole macronutrient because you want to get a good balance for digestive purposes, for gut health. You want to be getting your micronutrients in. You want to be getting them in for your overall energy levels and how you're feeling. So a good balance. Try and aim for a good way to start it as well. If you don't want to do the whole tracking for a week thing, take your weight in kilograms and multiply it by 23. Aim for that. Aim for
Yeah.
that. For your protein, you can do it one of two ways. You can do 1 gram per pound of body weight, or you can take your weight in kilograms, multiply it by 1.5, and just fucking aim for that minimum. So see your calorie target as a maximum, see your protein target as a minimum.
Fucking yes, pay the man. Um, yeah, I'll just add to that, like carbohydrates, I think are actually quite underrated in the sense of what we do. They're demonized still, which annoys me. They can, they're one of the major energy sources for the body, which when you use it right, go to the gym, steps, like your brain runs in glycogen. If you don't have enough glycogen, then you are going to feel sluggish. So again, there's a difference between having really simple carbohydrates, like just fucking consuming sugar, and drinking a coffee that's 600 calories versus actually, you know what, having rice, wraps, potatoes, something that actually, again, slower digestion, but gives you more sustained energy. Use it for the gym. You can push harder in the gym. You'll ultimately put on more muscle mass, which in turn means you burn more calories. So, like, long game, job, much better. Plus, also, like, a lot of social occasions that you're going to go to involve carbohydrates. So you probably best learn how to manage them. So yeah, I would probably.
What what I would add to that as well is see if you're in or if you're doing some sort of diet, right? Diets have to come to an end at some point. So let's say you feel like you're a wee bit fluffier on the edges and you do want to lose a bit of weight and you do go on like this fucking crash diet. What's going to happen at the end of that diet? Are you going to start eating carbs again? If you are, you're probably going to rebound. You might end up back at where you started. If not, even worse. So when you're doing some sort of diet, you want to be doing something that complements the lifestyle that you lead and it's actually sustainable. So ask yourself the question, can I see myself doing this for the rest of my life? Unless you've got something planned, unless you know it is a crash diet. Let's say you come to me or Kyle and you say, I've got a holiday in 8 weeks, want to look the best I possibly can. Then we can set you up with a plan for that 8 weeks. But we'll also give you, the knowledge that this isn't going to last forever. You're going to look class for your holiday, but you're probably not going to look like that when you come back from your holiday because because it's not sustainable. So ask yourself, can I do this for the rest of my life? If the answer is no, then it's probably going to come to an end, and you're probably going to be disappointed at the results when it does come to an end.
I'd also be saying, why didn't you get in contact with us 4 or 6 weeks ago if your holidays were fucking 8 weeks? Yeah.
Because people are fucking nuts.
Do you know what word I heard today that I've not heard in genuine years? Dauber. I don't even know if that's a thing in Ireland. I've not heard that in, yeah, a long, long time. Is that still a commonly used word in Scotland?
Nah, not at all. Fucking dauber.
I think
That was commonly used when we were growing up.
chewing the fat, it reminds me of
Yeah.
chewing the fat. That's why it was your dauber.
He's a gonky a dauber.
He's a gone kid dauber. What a time to be alive.
How did you hear it? Where the fuck did that come up?
Well, I didn't even hear it, mate. I was on Twitter this morning and I just seen somebody being cheeky to somebody else and they used the word dauber and I was like,
Brilliant.
what a word.
That is fantastic.
It wasn't just your dauber, it was your fat ginger dauber. It was like, wow. They went all in.
Fucking here for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, this is actually a question I'm going to ask you. It's not even on my list, mate. I'm just fucking winging it here. January, mate. I'm sure you've been. Well, I've seen you back in the gym after your bedtime injuries. Have you seen anything wild yet in January? Like people
No,
like that? No.
no. So because we're not in a public gym,
That's right.
every member that comes into our gym is coached.
Yeah, yeah.
So in fact, having said that, I have joined up a public gym just for a wee bit of a respite from being in like my work all the time. I only made it once before I injured myself with my debilitating injury whilst sleeping.
Yeah.
Um, and I went at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning. There was 4 people in. One had a tripod set up, to be fair to her, at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning. Fair play, all the power to you. But I've not seen anything wild as of yet. Although, if you do go onto Instagram or YouTube, there is already some fucking crazy stuff going on. But no, personally, I haven't. Have you?
Wouldn't say anything mad, but it's just the standard people doing mad exercises that I do genuinely question. Going, where did you get that from? Like, I kind of want to ask them. Not even a case where I'm trying to correct it. We're past that. I'm just looking at it going, how did you get here? There was a guy on the what do you call it? Fucking, I'm telling you, PT for 14 years, and I still don't know the name of some exercises. See the decline sit up machine.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, so he was on that, but he had a fucking, what do you call it? A body pump bar. And he
Okay.
was like, coming up as if he was rowing a boat. And he was coming up as if he was rowing a boat. And I was like, mate, firstly, what are you trying to train towards? And like,
Working his obliques.
I don't know if he was practicing rowing in Scotland or something. I don't know. But he was just doing this mad thing. And yeah, the sex noises are back in full effect.
Okay.
One of my pet peeves is people who just make like grunts and noises as they're training. I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
Sometimes I do that without realising when I've got my earphones in. Like if I found if I'm working kind of RPE 8, 9, doing a squat, after a rep, I'm like, ah!
I think there's a difference doing that, but sometimes when it's there audibly every rep and it's
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
it's doing it meticulously. I don't mind like a wee cheeky, I kind of, you know what, I was just in the moment, I forgot where I was and that was a big exertion. But see the ones that are just every single rep from
Yeah.
rep fucking 3 on going, "Ruff, ruff." I'm like, you're right, mate.
One of my favourite noises ever was, you remember Barnsey?
Oh yeah.
His
Yeah.
noise. Do you remember his noise?
I don't really remember it, to be honest.
He would go, sa!
Ah, yeah, no, do you know what? It's almost like came back to me as if I was in the gym right there.
Every rep, sa!
Yeah, wonder what he's doing. Well, actually, I've got him on Facebook. I'll probably look and see what he's doing.
I got in contact with me last year. He asked me if I was looking for a job, but I'd just been hired by Club 300, so I had to turn him down, unfortunately. But he was brilliant.
He,
Sa!
mu- he must be about 50 now, like in all seriousness, because he was touching 30 when we were like 17, 18, wasn't he? Like, it was,
Aye, you must be right.
it'd be close to that. It's mad to think. Anyway, look, moving on. Is there, actually, here's another thing. Pet peeves in gyms, is there anything that you've got at the moment?
I think we've done an episode on this, didn't we? The main one was, groups of 5, 6, 7 people hogging one machine. bags on the gym floor as well. Just left in the middle of the floor. Fair dues, I understand if, let's say, you are using the platform.
Yeah.
If you're doing some sort of kind of heavy lifting and you take your bag in because you've got your belt, you've got your shoes, you've got your chalk. Uh, Fair enough if you leave that next to the platform, but these dicks that just walk about with the big hold all fucking thing and they just carry it around the gym with them, leave it next to a treadmill, leave it next to a rowing machine, leave it next to a bench when they're using it. That as well, that kind of
Oh,
grinds
mate.
my gears.
I see that. See when people put something on something, but they're not using it. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing? Or see when it's super busy and somebody just leaves something on something they've disappeared,
Hmm.
and you're like, there's a good 8 to 10 minutes to go by. I'm like, what are you doing? Where are you going?
Yeah.
There's been a few times, people who load up. Usually a men thing, but I actually seen a woman do it the other day that fucking frazzled me. See when people just leave stuff loaded and walk away
Yeah.
from it. I'm like, did you find it that way? Like, what's
Aye.
happening here? Like, am I just unloading your 120 kilos you put on your deadlift bar? Like, how do you think that happens? Like,
You,
I'd love to know how those people get through life. What happens?
you need to have some level of arrogance about you for that. Like it's put
I
your
chased,
fucking weights away.
I chased a guy, mate. I literally chased a guy. He dresses up. I say dresses up, mate. He really annoys me because he just comes across like a prick. I've already made the assumption in my head he's a prick without ever having a conversation with him. But you know that way, you're just looking at somebody and go, "You are a prick."
The prick's prick.
The prick's prick. You can just tell he's constantly staring at himself in the mirror.
Oh, I love him. I love him.
No, but he genuinely is just constantly staring at himself in the mirror. He's whatever. He's giving himself the hype 1-2s all the time, but he loads up bars. And I was convinced for weeks, mate, of building a case against him, mate. I was like, he's loading stuff up and he's just fucking whatever. But anyway, I seen him, I caught him one day and he fucking, like, I was doing squats or whatever and he was in a rack not too far away from me. And I turned round and he'd left like fucking 100 kilos in the bar, albeit it was doing terribly as well. And then just fucked off. And I was like, he's just walking it. So, mate, I genuinely bounced up and started, mate, almost sprinting after him. I had to stop myself because I'm like, I'm not at the point where I can have a conversation with him. I've got about 4 weeks worth of evidence I'm ready for absolutely
Yeah.
smashing with. I actually didn't say anything at all and I had to just like stop in my tracks and go,
Oh,
I'm just, do what it killed me because I'm like, if I say anything to him right now, I'm going to explode. And it's not just going to be a conversation. It's going to be, here, you dickhead, get that clothes
aye.
off. And I'm like, mate, you're a fucking Danu. You can't go and say that to people. And then I was going to say it to the people in the gym. And I'm like, the people in the gym don't give a
They
fuck.
don't give a flying.
There's not a person on the floor. They genuinely do not care if that
Yeah.
person's loaded it or not. They're just like, right, mate, no worries. Fucking get back to your set.
See, that's one of the very good things about working in a private gym. Everybody chips in. See, let's say we had a class of 16 people. We're using quite a lot of equipment. Everybody chips in and puts things away, and they all go in the right place. However, when we get some people in that maybe doesn't put the plates on the racks the right way, I'm like, fuck, fuck. That winds me up, but it doesn't wind me up to a point where I flip off I fly off the handle. It's just a easy wee mistake to make. Usually it's newbies, but once they see what's going on, they start to change it. But yeah, that's one of the very good things about private gyms. Very rarely do I have to go and tidy up somebody's mess. Very, very rarely.
I think the better thing about private gyms as well is there is that ethos where everybody's kind of pulling from the same place,
Yeah.
whereas commercial gyms, it's like you've got everybody and anybody, and you've got people from all different
Mhm.
backgrounds, and ultimately the people who are in charge of most of these gyms are on minimum wage and don't give a fuck
Yeah.
as to
Yeah.
what's going on. So it's hard to even make a case for it. But anyway, getting back to some relevant questions, how often should you change your training program?
Every 8 to 12 weeks, give yourself a bit of time to actually progress on the lifts that you want to progress on and the lifts that you're doing. One thing I wouldn't do is program hop week to week because realistically, you're not going to see any progress. You might feel good, oh, I feel great, aye. But what's your numbers like? Are you progressing, or is it just a mindset thing, a mental thing? The programs that we run in the gym run for 12 weeks. People at first were, questioning it. Did we really want to be doing the same thing for 12 weeks? When we just started implementing it, whereas now they enjoy it because they can actually go back 12 weeks at the end of the 12 weeks, they go back to week one, they look at their numbers, they look at their numbers now. Fuck me, I didn't realise I progressed as much as I actually have done. So every 8 to 12 weeks is my answer. What would your answer be?
To be fair, the data says that you can stick to the same program for 2 years, and
Yeah.
realistically, most people could progressively overload it for 2 years, and there's no need to change it. But the biggest issue is you're not a robot, and if you're still doing the same program a year and a half in, and you know that exactly what Monday is, and you know that you've had good days and bad days, but you're feeling like a bad day, and you're like, I know for a fact that if I go in on a Monday and I have to do fucking bent over rows, it's not a chance I'll be able to lift what I've done the last 2 weeks, and I'm just feeling rattled. I can get to people, so I think freshening it up for me, like I tend to do it in 6 to 8 week blocks where I just change every 6 to 8 weeks just to freshen up. But like for me, it's never wholesale changes. Like it's very rare I'll ever get somebody's program and just fucking cut it right up and go, right, you're doing a completely different set of absolutely everything. Might change rep ranges, might change like different variations of things, might change the order of it, might change the days about frequency, volume, but I'm never, if you still look at it, and I mean, you looked at the consistencies over a year or 2 year period, I'm like, there tends to be similar themes where I'm building towards something that's like, without getting too technical on it, it's always the micro macro cycles. You've got the longer term plan, but like the small 6 to 8 week blocks are just parts of that that all add up towards it. You should see that, which is where people often do bad programming, where it's like, oh, I'm just going to cut absolutely everything up and give you an entirely new program. And whilst your client might go, oh, that's great, I was sick of doing all that. I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, you're now not going to get great results. Like short term, that's going to feel great, but see in 4 weeks' time when you're sick of this program and you actually have nothing to show for any of it, fucking yeah, no need for it. Like.
100%. I was actually going to ask you that before you started talking about it. I'm the exact same. So when I'm changing my clients' programs, I'll take, let's say they're training 3 days a week. I'll go into those 3 days. The structure's going to stay the same. I just change a couple of accessory moves. If somebody wants to get better at squatting, if somebody wants to increase their numbers at squatting, then I'm not going to fucking take squatting out of the program. You're going to continue to squat. Do you know what I mean? I'll change up a couple of the accessory programs, accessory exercises, and maybe take a bent over row and put in like a T-bar row, something like that. So you're still doing the same movement. You're just giving it a wee bit of variety, but again, you don't want to give it too much variety that you feel like you have to start again.
Yep, 100%. I can't really add anything. I'm not going to add anything else to that. I think that was spot on. How often should you deload?
When your body needs it. I would say that you can't really put a number on it. It depends on how hard you train and how intense you train as well. If I was to compare myself to Kyle, for example, Kyle lifts a lot fucking heavier than I lift, that's for sure. But yeah, Kyle might be beat up after 8 weeks and I might feel okay after 12, 14 weeks. Just go based on how you feel, right? So if you're feeling really lethargic, if you're feeling really tired, if your performance in the gym has taken a massive drop, if you're starting to feel wee niggles, then it might be time for a bit of a deload. When deloading, 50% weight, and then come back the next week and see how you feel. But it's, for me personally, it's all based on how you actually feel rather than times, like every 12 weeks, every 14 weeks, every 16 weeks.
Yeah, I would say the same. It's difficult to do it when you're being self-led because there are times where genuinely I've felt, I can't really be arsed today, and I've went and had fucking great sessions.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to do that. But what I typically do is look at data from the people I work with and go, right, cool, we can start to see, what there is a drop off, and it's been a fairly consistent drop off for a week or two, and we're also, that coincides with you feeling going, oh, I've got a lot of stress, I'm feeling a bit tired, whatever. I'm like, right, cool, let's take a bit of load off of what we're doing at the moment. But in a controversial statement, I think there's very few people in general population that train intensely enough, frequently enough, that merit doing a proper deload week, which is why I don't program that often. I think again, with all the love in the world, most of the people I coach are not professional athletes. They don't just get paid to train and recover. So there tends to be things that happen in life, e.g., Christmas, not doing training over Christmas, or having a week where you get a flu and you don't train anyway, or I was stressed at work and only got to the gym once or twice per week. I'm like, right, cool, we didn't need to schedule a deload because you know what, you fucking more or less just deloaded by doing
Yeah.
that week anyway. If you were consistent in the sense that we've seen 12 to 16 weeks of you consistently moving the needle and then testing at the end of it, I tend to do a bit of a deload after testing just because of more of mental fatigue than anything else after that. Like, but yeah, no, I wouldn't be someone who, and to be fair, I have done myself, regimented and went every 3 or 4 weeks having to do a deload. The only thing it does for me is it helps your enthusiasm a wee bit, because if you go to the gym one week and you're like, actually, do you know what, I'm just going to take it really easy this week, and you go and you're like, oh, I actually enjoyed it a wee bit because I didn't have to push myself. Class going, it gives you motivation to push it the next week. If that works for you, do it. But is it something you need? I would argue probably not for a lot of people.
Probably not. Yeah. Not unless you're a high performing athlete. Like, you don't really need it. If you're just gen pop, getting in to feel a wee bit better, move a wee bit better, then just judge it on how you feel. If you feel like you need a deload, you're getting tired, go for it.
I would also say, don't just also go to the direct answer of, I would do it as a flow chart instead of just going, am I tired and do I need a deload? I would probably look at, has my nutrition been on point? Am I eating enough? Am I drinking enough water? Am I getting enough sleep? I would probably be more inclined to look at those factors first before I start to go, right, drop 50% of stuff in the gym. And realistically, any good coach will probably tell you, like, as much as you want progressive overload over time, like, work within a 5 to 10 kilo range in the gym anyway. If you feel that there's in days where you can't push as much, fucking drop it by 5 or 10 kilos. Do that for the day. Like, come back, and if you're still feeling beat up the next day, do the same. If that's continuing for a week or two, then yeah, we might merit just going, right, we're dropping fucking 20 kilos and we're making sure that we're just prioritising food and sleep. Job's a good one, but like, yeah.
If it was based on feeling tired, then I'd be deloading every fucking week and a half.
I was going to say, mate, I just wouldn't have got to the gym. I woke up this morning. Finn's been teething as he's been for a while, but it was one of those ones. I woke up like 45 minutes before my alarm. And I'm like sitting there debating, going, do I even go back to sleep or not? Because I can hear him grouching. I'm like, do I get to sleep for 3 minutes? Do you know that way you can tell closing your eyes is going to be an effort? And I'm like, oh, fucking, just like. But yeah, as you said, if you just listen to that all the time, you're never going to do anything. Like, it's Anyway, right, moving on.
We might need to make this the last question, if that's okay.
Fine, mate. Do you need to go now?
Make it a good one. Couple of minutes. Got Bear booked in at the vet.
Cool. Struggling to hit protein.
Okay.
That's like all I have. Struggling to hit protein, question mark.
Right, see that fake protein that we were talking about at the start? Maybe give that a wee try. No, I would say, fuck me. Look at the absolute state of that. I would say the easiest way to get protein in is making sure you're having a minimum amount every single meal. So 30 to 50 grams every meal. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, that straight off the bat is between 90 and 150 grams. If you're already eating 3 meals and you're having, chicken, whatever, in your meals, have more chicken in that meal. Instead of having one breast, instead of having half a breast, I was speaking to a client the other day, and I'm not going to name her, just in case she listens.
Get her named.
She hates the artificial sweetener that they use in protein, which is fair enough. Not everybody fancies it. So she's really trying to force herself into having protein powder. And I said to her, just increase your portion of chicken per meal.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be the easiest way to do it. Less effort. Rather than a breast, have 1.5. Simple, easy. However, she's like, well, I put a wee bit of chicken in my soup the other day. I can't remember what soup it was she made. And I was like, how much? 75 grams. I was like, that's a fucking chicken finger. I was like, double that at least.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I always think it's how far away they hit from hitting the protein target in the first place. Like, if you're like 90% of the way there, I'm just like, just fucking up your portion sizes. Like, that's genuinely not difficult. And you see, it's like, oh, I've had 100 grams of chicken breast. I'm like, just have 125. Like, if you're, where you do need to look at, as Gary said, source of protein each meal. It still gets to me when I see people who, like, breakfast wise, they just have like 3 bits of Weetabix and nothing else. I'm like, man, Like, what purpose is that serving?
I had
And
two
say,
eggs. I
oh,
had plenty of protein for my breakfast. I had two eggs.
yeah, I enjoy my breakfast. I'm like, well, yeah, but your breakfast is serving no purpose, and you keep on telling us how you feel uncomfortable in your clothes. So fucking up the game, Moira. Like, it's yeah. I think just for me again, I've probably touched on this 1,000 times, but I'll keep saying it. Oats isn't my ideal choice of breakfast, but
Yeah.
it's a choice I've used for about the last 15 years. Is just genuinely having oats, a scoop of protein, and some mixed berries, because I know day in, day out, it helps me digest, it helps my energy levels, it means that it keeps me going till lunchtime, and it also hits my protein. I double scoop the protein in there because, you know what, I hit 50 grams of protein in my breakfast. It means I don't really need to worry too much about where my next sources of protein come from. If I have chicken, turkey, beef, fish for lunch and a protein bar at some point, I've probably hit 140 grams. I'm buzzing. I'm practically done. I don't need to think about anything else. It gives me more flexibility for my evening meal. So, planning ahead of time, making sure that you've got a frequency of meals throughout the day. Ideally, having somewhere between 3 and 5 meals a day, spaced 2 and 5 hours apart, with 30 to 50 grams of protein. There's a lot of numbers there. Write them down. Rewind the podcast.
Well, honestly, like even just going to like Lidl and Aldi and just picking up the wee protein pouches that have 25 grams of protein in them, see the wee yogurt pouches, just fucking have one or two of them. Easy peasy.
I know this is like us as PTs, we actually find really easy ways to get protein in, and it sometimes is a bugbear for me when people say they can't get protein. I'm like, how? Like, how can you get protein in? It's just like, it really should be the easiest thing in the world, but like in all seriousness, it just takes a little bit of planning. But
yeah, that's it. Just a wee bit of getting used to.
You are going to have to accept, and this is a big thing for a lot of people, your meals, yes, there might be 10% less enjoyment if you have to have a scoop of protein either in it or beside it, or you need to put a yogurt beside it. It's maybe not your ideal choice. But for 10% less enjoyment, you get 90% better results, and I would take that every day of the week. So yes, that's where I would go with.
Aye, and the harsh reality of it is, if you want your body composition to change, if you want to feel better in your own skin, if you want to feel better in your own clothes, if you want to build a wee bit of muscle, you need to prioritize protein. There is no ifs, there's no buts. I don't care if you don't like it. You have to prioritize protein. It is as simple as that.
Gary for president, can't really add much more to that.
Come on.
You don't make the rules, mate, but the rules are the rules.
The rules are the rules. Me and Big Donny up for it in 4 years.
Right, where can they find you, Gary?
Instagram at gmac_health and fitness. Kyle, where can they find you?
Kyle_biofitness1 on Instagram.
Excellent. As always, I'll tag the Instagrams in the show notes. So if you don't follow us already, what the fuck are you doing? Get us followed.
Sort it out.
This was a cracking episode, Kyle.
Yes, well, I'm just going to pat myself in the back. You pat yourself in the back, and we'll do all right here. Yeah, there we go.
Brilliant. Thanks as always to Dave and Toby for the tunage. Hope you all have a wonderful week, and see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.